All right, this is a live episode of Threadheads. Brad and I are together at the Indianapolis Traderie. Brad, the things are kind of winding down. The live auction just wrapped up a few minutes ago. People are kind of settling their scores. We got a little microphone here, so we're going to awkwardly pass this back and forth because there's a lot of noise in the room. But how did you think the Traderie went? How did you do?
Oh, man, it went pretty good. I enjoyed catching up with some of the guys, I mean, obviously we hadn't seen each other since NOAC.
I know, that's right. Yeah.
So catching up before that, seeing Todd Rogers and Tom Price and a few of the other guys is pretty cool. So, man, this is my first trip to Indy. So Indy Traderie it's nice. It's fun, and just kind of what we were talking about on the last Threadheads, Traderie versus dealerie. I think I've seen the best of both worlds in the last 2 weeks. So Dallas was my dealerie, and this is more of the Traderie. I did some trading, and I did way more buying here. And, my theory holds true. I saw more dollar bins and more, deal boxes, if you will, here than I did at Dallas. And so it's been interesting. But, yeah, great. The auction's awesome. You and I were talking earlier about the system they have to do the auction. And so it's awesome, man. It's a good traderie. Comparative, if I'm comparing the last 2 weeks, it's really that defines that dealery versus traderie.
Yeah.
So, how about yourself? Like, how did you feel?
Yeah, no, I think that, what sets this one apart is, number one, you start with the group that's running it, right? And so there must be a dozen volunteers who are running this show, and so they are divided up. They literally over here to our left, there's a group that all weekend they basically had like a flea market set up where you could get patches and a patch bucket, not for $1, not for 50 cents, for as low as 10 cents each if you would buy, a good amount. They had coffee mugs, they had uniforms, shirts, camping equipment. It's like a flea market, but it was all scouting stuff. Then further down, they had another set of tables, like a ring of 8 tables, 10 tables, where it was this one estate that they've been trying to get rid of, and they had everything priced fairly reasonable and some pretty good stuff there. Then they had the silent auctions, over 1,100 silent auctions. Then they had the live auctions, a couple hundred live auctions. So there was just so much going on. What you find yourself doing in Indy is constantly getting up from your table and walking around to see everything. And when you do that, every time you get up, you find another table that you've either wandered by and didn't look at, or you see something that catches your eye, or there's another person that you bump into that you have a conversation with. So the time goes by so fast because the whole time you're just talking and dealing and running over here to sell somebody a patch off your table. It's just kind of neat. It's really alive. The building and the room's really alive. Yeah.
Absolutely,
So we wanted to also share some of the things that we got, kind of like deals and stuff. So let me start with one, and then I know Brad's probably got one as well. Yeah, right when I came in, the first thing I did when I came in was I headed for the little flea market over there, and I scored this uniform shirt, which is basically like a modern era scout shirt, but it's never had a patch sewn on it. And it just so happens my son is a bear, and he'll have to wear the tan shirt next year. And I'm like, this is probably the right size for him. It's like a youth large, and it's got nothing sewn on it, so it's not like he has to have a hand-me-down from dad that's like a 40-year-old tan shirt from the 80s. So that was like one cool little pickup I got for him, was basically got his shirt. So tell us something you got, Brad.
Man, so I mean, part of my goal, and you and I talked about this before I came to the Traderie, was like, I wonder if it'd be awesome to score some stuff from my area, right? And I had to dig, but I did. I scored some things from now Area 8, Section 8, Oklahoma, Arkansas. So I wanted to show a few things, like, so Jason.
Oh,
couple of first flaps, right? This
nice.
is the second Tamaqua 281 merger with Manu Lodge, which I'm involved with.
That's a woven. That's a pretty sweet looking patch.
That's a first flap, man, and I dug this up this morning. So I was here all day yesterday, digging through tables and stuff, and I dug this up. I purchased both of these today.
No kidding.
In the time I was here.
On Saturday.
So that's a 559W1 as well, and that's a first issue.
Yeah.
Picked that up for a buddy already, so I got that taken care of. And then, of course, some just random cool things, man. Nothing in particular, metal flap. And then, you were talking about deals.
Classic.
And so I bought 20 buckles off of a guy and a pile of neckerchiefs, and just some cool stuff. And then this one, this was pretty cool to bring this back to Texas. I mean, that's
I've seen that. Yeah,
monstrous patch.
Yeah.
And
like a section jacket patch or something?
No,
or?
it's actually a lodge. This is
design.
Gila Lodge out of El Paso, and these are the Zodiac, the animals of the Chinese Zodiac.
Okay.
They did a patch series, so there's flaps that match these, but I'd pick this up. Those along with just boxes and bags of stuff.
Hey, you still got some Charlotte Tradery flyers of yours.
Okay.
So,
Thanks,
so
man. I've been putting these in with my
and I
desk.
picked up
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
like cheap neckerchiefs, patches. Man, I've just tons of stuff. I bought like a bulk deal of some flaps, some CSPs from a guy. Bought some just all kinds of crazy stuff. I couldn't tote all my boxes over to Jason's table, and he couldn't tote his junk over to my table. So we kind of met here, and I brought a few pieces. But yeah, I did really good. I bought a bunch of stuff. I stopped and bought a collection on the way too, so it kind of made the trip worthwhile. But so how about yourself, man?
I can't even get it all out, man. It's like so what happens at a tradery like this is when people walk in the door, they're sort of like, it took me a while to learn this, but I finally learned it. You sort of watch for the guys coming in the door, then there's like these vultures that are circling. They sort of pounce on them, right? So finally I was there and pounced when somebody opened up their stuff, and we said, how much for this? And sort of a little scrum happened. You got in on that too. A little museum thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
So this guy was like selling some stuff for a museum or from a museum. So anyways, I got these, this is just a small example, 1989 JSPs for $1 each. You know, they may not be that exciting, but for $1 each, you can't go wrong, right? All this stuff here was like $1 each as well. Going through another guy's box, I went through and picked out these patches, got them for 50 cents each. And some of these are cut-edge activity patches from the 1950s. I'm like, you can't go wrong with, an activity patch from the 1950s that has council name on it and stuff. So that was kind of cool. Bought another box. I got a bunch of merit badges and had about 200 and some merit badges and different uniform patches and stuff. And I think I gave the guy like 20. It ended up being about 25 cents per merit badge.
Nice.
Which, I'm not really big on merit badges. I got all these CSPs from a guy for like 50 cents each. He was just trying to get rid of them. This is kind of cool. So a guy came by and he was asking if I was going to the World Jamboree, and I said no, but I said, actually my daughter's going. He said, well, I've got these American flag hat pins, and I'd like to sell them for like 10 cents each, and they would be really good for the World Jamboree.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, she could just trade those or give them away for free. So just lots of that kind of stuff. Here's some of the merit badges. The other thing I got, which is sort of crazy, cuckoo crazy, but if you look here, you can kind of see. There you go, man. All right, so ran up on a deal, 2 bags. I got another bag just like this of CSPs, and they're almost like, assorted bricks of CSPs, but they're actually already been alphabetized. They're not. There's no issue numbers, but they have been organized by council name and stuff, so I can go through here and pull them out. So now I've got about I bought 1,800 CSPs at this tradery. Not that I needed them, but sometimes the price is so right, it's sort of like you just can't say no if you really have a way to move them. So my thought is eBay, my Antique Mall booth, Facebook, and my Shopify store, and the tradery, the Charlotte Tradery, I'm going to set them up. So I've got about 5 different ways in my brain that when I lay all these out on a table, I'm going to be like, one for you, one for you, one for you. And I'm going to, do them that way. And try to resell them for like $3, which I think is like a normal price for a CSP that you'd like to get. So anyways, that's kind of a deal. So I know I spent more money buying stuff, like you're saying, than I spent selling stuff. But that's kind of what happens, I think, at an indie show is that if you are willing to buy a bucket, like you're saying, a bucket of stuff, there's great deals to be had because some people have been dragging this stuff around. Something like that museum we ran into, they were just trying to get rid of stuff. Obviously, this council folks over here that are trying to have the yard sale, they're just getting rid of stuff. So there's also a lot of buying opportunities. Tell us maybe about, did you have any good conversations with people? We also mentioned that fellowship thing as part of the magic at a tradery.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I roomed with Matt Becker. And so getting a room with him, I got to visit with him last night. But, after this show closes a little early.
That was a little weird.
A little different.
9 o'clock.
Yeah, 9 o'clock. That's a little different. So closing at 9, though, I was able to catch dinner and a beer with Todd Rogers and Tom Price, and then Matt and myself, and so we caught dinner, and it wasn't extremely late when we got done eating dinner, so that was kind of nice to visit around. I mean, we talked about traderies and the hobby in general, just some questions, just kind of had a conversation about it, and then I've been approached about from people here that are finally putting my name to, face to a name.
Right.
That I've
look at that face. How could you not know? That's Brad England.
that I've traded. So that was one of our funny stories last night. I want to share this real quick because this is funny. So there are these two guys at the pre-NOAC tradery from California, and they both had big red beards, and so
I saw those guys.
Yeah, so we were at Wayfinder Festival on the last day, and one of the guys was like, "Man, you don't know how many times somebody's walked up to me and said, 'Are you Brad England?'" So, no, I'm not. But they knew so people knew I was at NOAC and stuff. So yeah, so we talked about that last night. But yeah, so some great conversations. Bet some people saw several people I hadn't seen since NOAC.
Yeah.
Jason Ricker and those guys I hung out with up there, and then several people that I hadn't seen. Some people I saw last weekend in Dallas.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Saw a few of those guys, so it's great to just kind of catch up with people. That was the main reason when I first talked about coming, I was more about catching up with people I hadn't seen since NOAC. You and I hadn't seen each other since NOAC, so getting to do that. So that's kind of probably the best part about it,
Right.
And then all the deals and stuff that back to that being a tradery where people were actually trading at their tables, reasonable price and stuff. So. I thought it was a really good show, man. I had a really good time. I'm looking forward to next year.
Yeah. So the Indy Tradery is one of those that they kind of sell the tables now for next year. So they kind of, get people committed because they have people that sort of have the same spots and locations, and they want to get the same spots next year. But if you're interested in coming to Indy next year, I'm sure that after the Tradery, they'll have tables that'll open up and they'll be able to get you in. Just to piggyback on what you said about conversations, I was actually able to finally catch up with a guy named John Smilek, who's doing a whole book about merit badge pamphlets. And my tables are with Ron Oslin and John Ort, and Ron's been working on that with him, trying to document all the different issues and stuff. So John and I actually recorded a video and recorded audio for podcast. So got that taken care of. So it's a really cool project. Learned things I didn't know about merit badge pamphlets. I confess I in the past have been dismissive of merit badge pamphlets, but maybe it's because I didn't. I think it's because I grew up in the 80s, and those runs with the red cover, the red stripes, I think he calls them. It turns out they had those for like 40 years. And so to me, those are so ubiquitous. They're like everywhere. I'm like, ugh, like I have so many of them I don't want.
Right.
But when you go back into the older and older ones, then you can start appreciating the history of it. And there's he told me some stories about during World War II, they actually had one that was printed on a different type of paper, and on the back, it actually has a war service stamp on it to show that it was during the rationing times.
Wow.
There's some cool stuff you didn't know. So I just, I'll probably say this in my podcast, but let me say it here. I love when people in the hobby take on little niches and do the research and put out a book. I think they're going to do an ebook type thing, maybe a website deal. I think that's just great because there's so many little niche avenues you could go down in this hobby. But if you're blind, you just don't know what you don't know. So I was dismissive of merit badge pamphlets because I just couldn't speak the language.
Right.
Honestly, I knew what a tan was. I didn't even really know what a white merit badge pamphlet was until more recently, and those are from the sort of 1919 was the first year they came out. So the early 20s through 25, 26 was white covers. I didn't even know that really. So you learn a lot of stuff. So that's another thing about a tradery is just the face-to-face interaction with people. For me, it's meeting people from the Facebook group, and they're like, "Hey, we know you're on Facebook." All the newsletters I do. Hey, I read your newsletter. One guy gave me a Girl Scout book and said, "Give this to your daughter. I know she does Girl Scouts." So just sort of that personal connection you can make with people at traderies, I think is so important. So yeah. Anyways, and we do have a calendar on the website scoutpatchcollectors.com. You can go there and see the calendar. So, anything else about the tradery?
No, I will kind of close with this. So you were talking about catching up with people. I actually completed a trade here. One of the first things I did. So working on a trade through messaging, and just one of those weird things where we couldn't get right on especially multiple patch trade
Yeah.
where you can't really get straight on it. And so I was able to complete the trade here, and even that, the person I completed the trade with made the comment that, this is a lot easier kind of dealing with each other in person. And the same is true at NOAC and Jambo when you can actually sit there and trade. So that's kind of the downfall of trading through Facebook. But, we were able to make a deal here, so it worked out really well.
Yeah,
so, yeah. It's overall good experience, man.
Yeah, actually, something I forgot to mention. I'm looking at it right now. So actually, at the end, this folks next to us, they were just trying to get rid of stuff. So at the end, practically for free, I gave them a little bit of money. I got an entire tub full of camping gear. And so next week, I'm going to put it out in our little troop newsletter. We have our first Scouts BSA camping trip next weekend, and we meet on Thursday night. So I'm going to put a notice out in our email newsletter to say, hey, Thursday night when you come, we're going to have a whole table full of free camping gear. If your new Scout needs a mess kit or a fork, spoon, and knife set, all that, whatever like that, we'll have it. I got some canteens over there. They all probably say Boy Scouts of America, but that's okay. Scouts BSA, it's all good.
Yeah.
So we're happy about that. But as Brad was saying too, we started to begin getting some emails from people about thread heads and things, topics they'd like to see. I had a conversation with a guy here about, what would y'all want to do as a live guest kind of thing. So again, if you want to be a guest on our normal one that we do over online, we can hook you in if you have a webcam and a good internet connection. So it's a little loud here to do.
That's crazy.
All right. Well, I'll let you close this out.
All right. Hey guys, so Jason and Brad from the Indy Tradery. Hope to see any of you guys next year, and I'm going to make some more traderies throughout the year. So hopefully we'll see some of the guys. And again, shoot us any emails, questions, ideas for the show. This just kind of worked out where we were at the same place at the same time and kind of shoot this on the whim. So they're breaking down behind us, though.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I mean, there's still a crowd here. I mean, that's a pretty impressive.
2:30.
That people are still wandering around and stuff. So I think they're kind of closing things down, paying off the stuff. So I actually won some stuff in the silent auction. I better go pay for it.
Me too.
So hey guys, catch you guys next time.